Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Holy cow. The week is almost done. How did this happen, Heidi?
I know. It's crazy.
Can you believe it's Friday?
I'm glad it's Friday.
As am I. It's Friday, May 11th, and we have a great guest coming up later in the program. Amberly Lago, L-A-G-O. Amberly Lago is the author of a book called True Grit and Grace. I've got the book right... Well, it was right here. Oh, it's right over there. Right, over there.
Okay.
It's a good-looking book, too. Here's the thing that's really cool. I was chatting with her ahead of time, and I found out she went to high school with Bart Millard, the lead singer of Mercy Me.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So we were kind of chatting, getting things ready for the interview, and she was telling me that... Because when we were talking was right after the movie came out. That movie. That was... Can't think of the movie.
I can only imagine.
There we go. My brain is not working. Is it a weekend yet? But it was right when that movie came out. So she and I were talking, and she said he called to congratulate me when I was on television. So he was she was on a program,
nice.
and he called. She said that's pretty darn neat. So anyway, that's coming up later in the program. Again, Amberly Lago. The book is called True Grit and Grace. And here is your quote for today: "The last 10% it takes to launch something takes as much energy as the first 90%. Rob Kalin. I agree 100%.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, May 11th. Today is National Foam Rolling Day. What?
Foam rolling?
Yeah, what is foam rolling?
I don't know.
National Twilight Zone Day. Our son
he
loves
loves
that.
the Twilight
Every
Zone.
year for New Year's Eve, he'll watch that. It's like a marathon, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And then we bought him the DVD series because we got rid of cable. So,
So now you can watch your own
there you
marathon.
go. Anytime you want. National Eat What You Want Day. Every day is kind of really that, but today is apparently the day you celebrate. National Military Spouse Appreciation Day. I think that is a great day to celebrate.
Absolutely, all the time.
These are people who also give up quite a bit to serve our country. They do it right here at home. And again, it's National Provider Appreciation Day today as well. All of those things happening on this, the 11th day of May. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. That's 800-818-3967. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, but first, an upstart cannabis company has partnered with a Canadian university to produce what they say will be the world's first beer made with mind-altering drug, cannabis. Province Brands of Canada has awarded $233 from the Ontario government to create a brew that is safer than alcohol. So they're saying make a beer using cannabis that is safer than alcohol. So they're working on that right now.
With a whopping $233?
$233,000.
Oh, you said $233. I was like...
It goes a lot further.
That's not going to go
in
far.
Ontario. No, it's not that. I just read it wrong. All right, coming up, we've got a great story that just, I don't quite know what to say other than just wow. It's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is Your Brain on Drugs. This story was shared from a listener. Thank you so much for sending this. Brian Zielinski of Knoxville, Tennessee, faces charges after a search yielded a super glue huffing stash. multiple people flagged down an officer on Market Square to report odd behavior by a man who turned out to be Zelensky. And it says here, according to police, he refused to stop walking away when he was approached by officers. They reported that he was talking incoherently and appeared to be under the influence of some type of inhalant. Authorities said a search yielded 2 bottles of super glue in his front pocket, and his sunglasses case had small light bulbs and a straw attached to the end of the bulb. Zelensky allegedly told officers the stash was for huffing glue, so he at least told them the truth. They also reported finding a small electronic scale, a crystal-like residue on that in his bag. After being placed in cuffs, he tried running away. He was restrained on the ground. He's been charged with disorderly conduct, evading arrest, and inhale and possesses? That doesn't, whatever.
Possession.
But it doesn't say that.
I'm sure.
Of intoxicants for unlawful purpose. So I've got a link to the story, and it sounds like this guy's had a couple of issues, so maybe he could use some prayers. But Brian in Knoxville, and also thank you to the gentleman that sent that to me for sending that over. Interesting story. So if you're looking for something interesting to read, we do have a link to that in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Comedian Ken Jeong, who's probably most well known for being Mr. Chow from the Hangover movies.
Sure,
also, he was one of the counselors on, what's the movie that you really like? We just talked about it the other day.
Oh, Couples Retreat.
Couples Retreat. There you go. And he's also a teacher on Community. He's also a hero. He is a licensed physician. Did you know that? In addition to being a comedian and an actor.
I did not know that, but I did see this show up on my Facebook.
This is a cool story. This could have been our good news. I could have probably saved this for the good news. Anyway, he's also a licensed physician. During one of his shows, he jumped off a stage to give medical care to a woman who was having a seizure. This happened in Phoenix. What a cool
Isn't that cool?
story.
Yeah, that is very cool.
I'm going to see if I can connect with him for our Movie Star Mondays. What do you think? Okay. I'd love to talk to him. I think he seems like a fun guy.
Yeah, he seems like a neat guy.
And one other story here. Tanya Harding is in the news. This is for Little Screen because she's on Dancing with the Stars. We had to Google this because here's what the story says. Tanya Harding was expected to be eliminated going into Monday's episodes of Dancing with the Stars. Okay, but then there's no update on the story. So it's like, did she get eliminated?
She was not. I had to look it up.
Yeah, Heidi had to look it up. So if
we
you're
don't watch
a fan,
that show.
No, we don't. But here's the thing I got to say. I feel really bad for Tanya Harding because we watched the movie I, Tanya. If that's true, she kind of got ripped off. Because according to the movie I, Tanya, again, I'm not saying it's true. It says based on a true story, so we don't know if that's, or inspired by, or some of this stuff might have happened. I don't know. But we watched that movie, and it's a fascinating movie, if nothing else. And again, I don't know how much of it's true, but if it's true, I feel bad for her. So, but she sounds like she's still in the Dancing with the Stars. So she's still got that going for her, which is nice.
Which is nice.
This has been Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now, your scoop of the day. A penthouse apartment in New York City is up for sale right now. Guess how much they want for this New York City penthouse?
Gosh, I couldn't even imagine.
Just guess a number.
I don't know, $42 million.
What do you think I'm a peasant? I'm not going to live in that. $85 million, Heidi.
Oh, man.
$85 million. The buyer also gets a Rolls Royce, and here's my favorite thing, and a trip to space aboard the first Virgin Galactic commercial flight in 2022.
You could not pay me enough to get on that thing.
If you want a place to live between now and then and something to drive between now and then and then want to, strap yourself to a rocket and shoot yourself into outer space, this could be the deal for you. I do have a link to this story and all of the details in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Also got a link to these other stories, like this one. A Carnival cruise ship was flooded in the Western Caribbean. Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean?
It depends.
How would you say it in this text? Flooded in the Western Caribbean. No, that's how I said it. Okay, so hopefully I got that right. Now, if you say Caribbean, I'm sorry. On Saturday, this is when it happened. After what happened here? Right here. A fire prevention system malfunctioned and started spraying water.
Oh.
And it flooded the boat. It didn't sink, thank goodness, but there was water everywhere. And there's videos and photos and stuff on the page here if you want to see that. A Bloomberg study found that the elderly are losing over $37 billion a year to fraud.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
They target the elderly big time.
We got a call from my mother. This has been years ago, but she called and said, "Are you in trouble?" And I said, "No, I don't think so. Why?" She goes, "Well, Grandma just got a call, and the guy said that he was you." And I said, "No, it's not me. I'm not in trouble." And so then I called my grandmother to let her know, and she was kind of shooken up over the deal.
Yeah.
She said that supposedly I called her from jail
in Las Vegas
and needed
bail money.
You needed to get some money wired to me for being in jail in Las Vegas. And I was like, well, of all the grandkids, Grandma. I mean,
they should have said Joe.
Yeah, well, you'd have believed that in a second. What are you doing? You sure it's not Joe? But apparently what they do is, because I fell for one of these too, I answered all the questions.
Yeah.
So they said, do you know who this is? And it sounded like the call that I was on sounded like my wife's Aunt Linda.
Right.
So I said, "Is it Linda?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just got in a fight. Guess with who?" And I was like, "With Mike?" So I'm giving her all the answers. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. And that's what they do, sadly. So again, $37 billion a year stolen from elderly people who fall for these tricks, according to Bloomberg. Rasmussen poll found that 46% of Americans are in favor of getting a guaranteed salary from the government. By the way, 46% of Americans, that fits very nicely with how many people are millennials. So,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know I've got somebody that's upset with me right now just for saying that. I'm just poking fun. We're having a good time here. But I do have a link to that story if you want to read all about it. And then, this might be the last story we're going to have time for. A video has gone viral of a cow chasing a sheriff deputy at the scene of a car accident. Not what you'd expect to see.
Oh, funny.
So none of the drivers were charged in the incident, but this police officer, a sheriff deputy, was there trying to help, and a cow from the side of the road decided that I don't like this guy. And
That's
I wonder if it's
hilarious.
because of the shiny badge or what.
I don't know.
What would it have been about this officer that was really disruptive to this cow? But cow kind of goes berserk, and
That's funny.
he wants none of that. So there you go. It says, again, none of the drivers were charged. I wonder if they charged with the cow with, would it be resisting arrest or no? What would it be where they're messing with a police officer? That's illegal. There's a name for it. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what you're trying to think of.
Everybody's learned that I have no street cred now. Sorry. Never been to jail in Vegas, and I don't know how to even
I've never been to jail
talk
in
about
Vegas.
this stuff. We do have a link to all of these stories if you'd like to read them, and they are in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Do you have ideas for t-shirt designs, but you don't have a clue how to print them? Or maybe you'd like to have t-shirts and coffee mugs available to buy online with your business logo printed on them. There's a website that makes it easy. We set ours up in about 10 minutes. There's no sign-up fee, no minimum orders, no monthly fees. It's just a really easy way to put some cool items online for sale, and you get paid every time somebody buys them. You don't have to print or ship anything. Just sign up, upload your designs, and then let people know where they can get your cool stuff. More details available at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to visit with our guest today. We have Amberly-Lago on the line. She's the author of a new book called True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph. Amberly, how are you?
Hi there. Well, thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me on your show. Sorry I have a little bit of a raspy voice. I think it's a good sign. I had a book signing, and there were so many people. I did
That's
so much
awesome.
talking, I lost my voice a little bit.
Well, the good news is that'll come back, and it's all good. And we're super excited to chat with you. Now, there are people who go through tragedies, and then they let that tragedy define them, and they let that hold them back. You went through something that wasn't necessarily fun, but you didn't let that hold you back. You said, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to move forward. First of all, let's talk about your past. Before the accident happened, what was it that you were doing for a living?
Well, my whole life I was a dancer since I was 3, and I moved to Los Angeles to be a professional dancer. And then I got in the fitness industry, and so I still danced but trained clients, and I did fitness modeling, and I was also hired to teach people how to run, by Nike, and I did infomercials for Body by Jake. So my whole life I had been very, very active.
And that being active really kind of defined who you were. And then you have an accident. Let's talk about the accident and what happened.
Oh, yeah. Life was good. I was married to my dream man, 2 healthy young girls, and I was coming home from work on my Harley Davidson, and an SUV, I guess, didn't see me. Well, obviously didn't see me, and made a left turn, and I got T-boned. My leg took the brunt of the impact, and I was thrown about 30 feet, and I slid down Ventura Boulevard. I live in Los Angeles, and when I stopped, I looked down at my leg, and it was just crumpled into pieces, and I learned later all the blood that was coming out was because of my femoral artery had been severed. And so it took, a miracle, because when I woke up in the hospital out of a coma, the first thing they told me was they were going to have to amputate my leg. And after 34 surgeries, they were able to fuse my leg together and save my leg, but only to find out I was diagnosed with a disease called CRPS, or chronic regional pain syndrome, which leaves me in chronic pain. So that is where my real journey began, because they told me I'd be in a wheelchair forever.
And when you have an active lifestyle and everything you do has to do with dancing and choreography and training others and teaching others, and they're saying, hey, you're going to sit in this wheelchair for the rest of your life, that's probably not the information that you wanted to hear, was it?
Oh, I was devastated. I had, worked so hard to make it through all those surgeries, and when I had a 1% chance of saving my leg, and they saved it. And then I'm so proud to be upright on crutches, finally out of the hospital bed, and I walk into my doctor's office only to be diagnosed with an incurable disease, nicknamed the suicide disease, because there's no known cure, and it's ranked highest on the pain scale, and it leaves you in constant chronic pain. I was devastated because they said, are you the type of person to push through pain? And I said, well, yes, sir, I am. And he said, well, you need to go back home and get in your wheelchair because you have an incurable disease. You're going to be disabled for the rest of your life. And I got home. I drove straight. Then I drove straight to physical therapy. And I told the therapist I need to work harder than I've ever worked before because I just learned some news, and I'm not going to let this keep me down. And so right then and there, I thought, I have a choice. I can either choose to go down that road of despair and self-pity and depression, or I can make a choice to make something out of my life and have a good life despite my circumstances. And so I did everything I could to use the tools that I had to make that happen.
And from that, we've got this amazing book, True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph. And this chronicles the whole story and tells you everything from where you started, where you went, and where you're going. Let's talk about your life today. What is it like, and how different is it compared to before the accident?
Oh, well, I have learned a lot of lessons. Growing up in Texas, I was taught to cowgirl up and suck it up and, hide my crazy and be a lady. And this accident, my recovery journey, has really taught me to listen to my body and that it's okay to be vulnerable and to accept my new normal and have it wasn't until I really had some self-compassion and some self-love that I was able to begin my healing journey and then reach out to others and connect with others that also have chronic pain or that are just, we all have struggles that we're going through. And so I do a lot of speaking now, and I'm really hoping that people that read my book, True Grit and Grace, are really going to find their own resilience, claim their power and their resilience to overcome any adversity they're going through in their life.
And that's something that I think many people need to realize when we're going through something. Keep in mind, you're going through it. That doesn't mean that's the destination. You're going through it. There is an end. You're going to get through this. And on the other end, it's not as bad as you think, is it?
No, it's not. And, it's always going to be good and bad times in life. And, those bad days only make us appreciate the good ones even more. And for me, I think just by really getting gritty, and for me, by the grace of God, I've gotten through a lot of things, and that's why I titled my book. It took me a long time to come up with a title, and I thought, you know what? Somebody said, girl, you've got a lot of grace and some grit after they saw my x-ray, because my bones had finally healed, and I thought, can I use that for the title of my book? And she said, you're welcome. But yeah, life is, we're always going to have challenges, whether it's personally, financially, physically, and it's just putting those tools into use and making the best of it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us, and thank you so much for, first of all, not giving up, because if you'd given up, we wouldn't get a chance to talk today because we wouldn't even know who you are. But we're glad that you didn't give up. You said, hey, I'm going to get through this. In addition to that, you could have, when you got through this, you could have said, hey, I'm done, but you didn't. You said, in addition to getting through this, I'm going to inspire other people that are going through a dark time in their life and let them know that, hey, it's not as bad as it could be, and just keep on moving. And that's the key. You got to keep moving. And I think it's fantastic that you put the book out and that you're doing what you're doing to inspire others who are going through a dark time in their life. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
And the book just came out in April, so this is a brand new book. It just came out, but it's got rave reviews so far. I wish you the very best, and I hope that this does really, really, really well for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Again, Amberly Lago has been our guest. The book is called True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph, and we've got a link to the book in our show notes on our show notes blog at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon, or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The first known contraceptive was crocodile dung, and it was used by Egyptians in 2000 BC. I think all you have to do is just...
That would work for me.
Smear some of that on you, and yeah, you're
You're not coming near me.
Yeah, well, amazing. Nothing happening. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
If a statue in a park of a person on a horse has both front legs in the air, that person died in battle. If the horse has one front leg in the air, that person died as a result of wounds received in a battle. If the horse has all four legs on the ground, the person died of natural causes.
Really?
What if they have both hind legs in the air?
Then the person died from getting bucked off his horse.
Now we know. I'm going to have to start paying attention to statues of people on horses. So there you go. A couple of fun facts, courtesy of LearnWithoutLoans.com.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner trying to do your own website, maybe it's time to get help. Or if you don't even have a website, it's definitely time for help. It's 2018. This internet thing is here to stay. At 49bydesign.com, we offer a simple plan to get you online for just $49 a month with no setup fee. This includes a website with the hosting and domain name included in the price. We have larger packages available, but this will get you online so people can find you in 2018. We're affordable by design at 49bydesign.com. That's 49bydesign.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, your grandiloquent word of the day. It is lexiphanism. Lexiphanism. I think I know somebody that struggles with lexiphanism.
Okay.
And on here, the grandiloquent word people say, this is a description I rather proudly embrace. Insert sly winky face here. Wink. Okay. Do you think you know what lexiphanism is?
I have no idea.
If you were going to guess, now that you know the grandiloquent word people do it?
No.
thought maybe that was going to be enough for you to just guess this one. The use of excessively learned and bombastic vocabulary or phraseology in a pretentious and showy fashion. I think our son sometimes falls down the, path of lexiconicism. He'll start throwing in little words here and there just to show that he's smarter than us.
He did it more when he was younger.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because he would improperly use some of them. And I was like, I don't think you're using that word right. Also, an instance or example of such vocabulary or phraseology, the habit of using a pompous or turgid style in speaking or writing, and the use of pretentious words or language or style. All of these could make you a user of lexiconicism.
There you go.
Grandiloquent word for this Friday.
John and Heidi.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-719-5601. 800-719-5601. That's 800-719-5601.
Now some weird news for you as we wrap up this week. A really bizarre story from Denver, which doesn't shock me. This is a state where, again, it's legal to do drugs, but there are still places when you're trying to get a job where you need to pass a drug test. So what do? Apparently go to 7-Eleven. Authorities say a Denver woman was cited Thursday for allegedly causing damage to a 7-Eleven store's microwave oven, not even kidding, when she tried to heat up a urine sample.
Oh,
a store clerk
gross.
reported seeing 26-year-old Angelique Sanchez placing something in the Aurora, Colorado microwave.
Disgusting.
And then she heard a loud bang seconds later. The clerk reportedly told Sanchez to clean up the mess or she would alert the police. Sanchez wiped out the microwave onto the floor with napkins.
Oh.
The clerk called police, told them she noticed some yellow liquid dripping from the microwave, and the smell was unquestionably warm urine.
So disgusting. What was she trying to do? Cook the drugs out of it?
No. She was found a half a mile away at a health clinic where she was waiting to undergo a physical and a urinalysis for a potential job. So she had somebody's clean urine. She was trying to heat it up. So then it go, why is your urine cold?
Oh.
Yeah. So officers say that she had summoned for damaged property and informing her.
Oh my gosh, that is so disgusting.
That microwave, by the way, you don't just pick up at local Walmart. Those are $500, those microwaves. So, yeah, bad idea.
So gross.
Might not want to microwave urine in that anymore. So, or ever. It's just a bad. It's a bad plan. I'm just wondering if there's anybody that used that to heat up a burrito afterwards.
Why are those microwaves so expensive? They're crappy.
But they're special microwaves. They're industrial. They get used all day. How many times do we use a microwave in our house? Maybe 3 times a day, maybe. Theirs are used 200 times every hour. I mean, all day long. So this has been your weird news. I kind of adamant about that.
Yeah, you were.
I don't know why.
Awfully passionate about the convenience store microwave.
Leave those microwave people alone. Your weird news brought to you by 49bydesign.com. Now, your moment of duh. This is such a bizarre story. The superintendent of a school district, the guy's name is Thomas Tramaglini.
Oh, really?
Probably not that. He's 42. We'll just call him Tom. We're on first name basis. He's been charged with defecating. I'm not going to read what the story says. He went number 2 on a track at a competing school. And here's the thing. This wasn't a one-time thing, Heidi. This was happening on almost a daily basis. Finally, the school resource officer decided to go there early in the morning and see what is going on. Who's doing this? And it happened at 5:50 a.m. on Monday, April the 30th. That's when he was arrested a few miles from his home, but he lived in that area. He was supposed to go to court May 7th. Now, because there are a lot of things that he's trying to come up with excuses as to why he's doing this, apparently, got pushed back to the 30th of May. So we're going to have to wait.
I don't know why.
That is just so bizarre.
I find this so amusing.
Well, here's the thing that's weird. for anybody to do that is weird. But he's the superintendent of a different school district, and he's going over in his neighboring school district and going to the bathroom on their field and track. Apparently, he didn't get a budget for a field and track in his district or something. I don't know. It's just weird, which is why it's today's weird news. No, actually, it's today's moment of duh. It's that, too. It's both, wrapped in one giant shiny package. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
In a world that constantly tells you you're not good enough,
12 easy ways to lose weight now.
It's easy to start believing that. I'm Amanda Johnson. I have a new perspective on the self-help genre. My book, Becoming Enough, A Heroine's Journey to the Already Perfect Self, will guide you to find your own happiness. Learn to block out the distractions of what the world thinks and learn to be happy with who you truly are. Becoming Enough. Available now on Amazon or learn more at amandajohnson.tv.
Time now for Fake News or Florida.
Alrighty.
A teacher was arrested for public intoxication after making 14-year-old student drive her to a Waffle House. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
Absolutely true. That is a true story. It's a true story. Why? Why in the world? All right, how about this one? An on-duty cop busted for DUI after pulling over an ice cream truck and demanding a chipwich. Fake news or Florida?
Fake news.
That is fake news. Heidi, you're getting pretty good at this. Was it the chipwich that gave it away? If I'd have said a push-up, would you have believed it? Nobody wants a chipwich.
What's a chipwich?
I don't know. That's why I should have said push-up. I think if I'd have said push-up, you'd have believed it. All right. This has been Fake News or Florida. We've got a link to these stories at johnandheidishow.com, and you just click on the show notes page. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with some good news, and especially today. We had some pretty weird news today. I mean, there's been some just awful things in the program, so we really need some good news. And it comes your way courtesy of Odiva. It's a monthly subscription service just for the ladies. Again, all the details at radiosavings.com. We talked about this earlier in the program, and I said this could be our good news. I'm going to make it our good news, too. I've got more details here. This is just such a cool story. So a spectator was in trouble during a comedy show, and the comedian himself, Ken Jeong, jumped off stage to help, and then gets back on stage and finishes his set.
Yeah, that's
How amazing
awesome.
is that? So he's more than an actor and a comedian. He happens to be a licensed physician in the state of California. And if you don't know who this is, let me explain, because I'll bet you've seen him before. If you've ever watched the TV show Community, he's one of the teachers. If you've ever seen the movie Hangover, or Hangover 2, or Hangover 3, he was in all of those. He was Chow.
He's a funny guy.
And he's been in many other things, too. But very, very funny man. But he's also, like I said, a licensed physician. He uses medical expertise to help a woman who was having a seizure during one of his stand-up comedy shows. It's a wonderful story. It was such perfect timing. He just jumped from the stage and helped, one of the members of the audience said. It says here, he couldn't see what was going on with the lights. He thought he was being heckled. He was playing with them from the stage for a second. And then he was like, no, we need you. He realized there was an issue. He came over. It was a moment where time stood still. Somebody was having a crisis. There was a hush over the room, and he jumped down, helped, and then when the lady was better, he got back on stage and finished the show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I remember I was at a wedding one time, and no, it wasn't a wedding. It was a Christmas party. I was at a Christmas party one time as the DJ. I was a wedding DJ for like 20 years. But I was at a Christmas party, and there was a lady that had a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
And the paramedics came and hauled her away, and I was like, do we finish having this Christmas party, or do we stop? What's the right... They finished the Christmas party, but I was like, I'm just the DJ, so I'm going to do what they tell me to do. Right. But I'm like, I'd be okay packing up and going home.
It's kind of ruined the mood.
It did, and I was just like, wow, at least she didn't die. She had a heart attack. She was fine, but again, same with this story. So really cool thing. I've got a link to all the details on our good news at the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.